will, quote, keep the boot on BP's neck. But why isn't the administration taking the same stance and talking this tough on terror as well? Well, on the panel today, we have a senior fellow from the Family Research Council and co-author of The Blueprint, Ken Blackwell. Also, former campaign manager for Howard Dean, Joe Trippi. Good morning, Joe.
Good morning.
Morning, Joe. What did I just say? And journalist and adjunct fellow at the Manhattan Institute, Judith Miller, as well. Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Who thought that Gibbs might have gone a little over the line by saying we're going to keep the boot to their neck?
Well, he's compensating for his previous rhetorical hesitation.
What do you mean?
Well, he didn't want to say the T word. We didn't want to hear terrorism until it was undeniable. So I think he's being as aggressive with BP as he was cautious with terrorism.
It's hard to put the toothpaste back in the tube. It is terrorism.
It is, but it's still not Islamic terrorism.
I don't think that's so much as when he was calling BP a partner. I think that's what they were trying to get away from. And I think he did go over the top yesterday, but they aren't a partner. They do need to be held to task on this.
I think it was reflective. This is an administration that is hell-bent on transforming our economy into a government-driven economy as opposed to a market-driven economy, and they see business as the enemy.
You know, Ken, the president's got a political problem on his hand, and that is the fact that he made so much out of Katrina. And then when you look at this particular disaster, it took 9 days for the president even to mention the disaster in public. It took him a dozen days before he actually visited the Gulf Coast, whereas George Bush was there at Katrina after 4 days.
It's the incompetence and failure of big government. And what we lay out in the blueprint is that this is an administration that is trying to concentrate power in Washington, inside of the Beltway, make government bigger. As they do it, it's more incompetent and less responsive.
Joe?
I don't think that's it at all. They fell for what BP was selling. But BP was saying it's only leaking this much. This wasn't somebody
but shouldn't the government know?
This wasn't an anti-corporate administration. This was them falling with their partner, and that's where they made the mistake.
Exactly.
This is as a progressive, this is what's wrong with. I think this is what's wrong with the administration. They can't believe what these guys are telling them, and look at the mess we've got now.
Okay, we're going to continue the conversation with these guys. The panel is sticking around for this. Some claim that Faisal Shahad's hatred for President Bush drove him to violence. So is the blame Bush game about to begin in the media? We're going to talk about that. But first, today, on this day in history, back in 1983, Michael Jackson had the #1 song in America. That's right, Beat It. And we will return in 2 minutes.